Hello, this is lesson 3. This is to identify the different products used. We have a little starter here. How does hair colour, which we call tint, actually damage the hair? Discussing with your partners. Now, today's lesson is what I normally do. I always have an hour lesson and I mix the lesson into theory and practical. So we have the first lesson of theory, the second lesson of the second half of the lesson as practical. And that will hopefully keep the students a little bit more focused on the lesson, as normally after about 15 minutes they're looking around the room thinking what else to do. So 30 minutes maximum doing theory and then spending the rest of the lesson doing practical, which is what they really enjoy anyway. So have a little time to discuss with your partners and then we could discuss why. So it damages the hair because the product is alkaline, which means the cuticle scales are lifted or swollen in order for the colour change to happen. Every time they are lifted, they may not return back to its natural position. Some stay lifted or even break off if over-processed. If this happens, it makes the hair porous and creates poor elasticity. So some of these words are quite new to the students, they're not familiar with it. So we don't expect them to learn everything in one lesson, but it's good to just talk about it. Just recapping on what we did last lesson. So we learned about acid and alkaline and neutral. We understand what acid is. We understand what alkaline is and the numbers that it represents. What colour and number is a strong acid? So we can see by looking at this, a strong acid is right down near 0, which is around red and orange. 0 and 1. Acid we know goes from 0 to 6.9. What colour and number is a strong alkaline? If we look at alkaline, we can see that a really strong alkaline is up by 14, so it's like a strong purpley colour. That goes from 7.1 to 14. Here we have a sheet that I would hand out to the students, and it's just for them to get used to the numbers. There's some fill in the blanks there, recognising if the number is acid or alkaline or neutral, and recognising the colour. So they just need to simply fill in the blanks or the pH balance so that they can see what it is, and they can stick the results into their books. There, I would display the answers and they can tick the answers with a suitable colour pen, normally green, to see if they were correct or not. These kind of questions also might come up in exams. They might ask you what the pH level of certain products are, and the kids need to be familiar with it. Here we have an introduction to the structure of the hair. What are hair cuticles? Now we need to remember that there are two types of cuticles. We've got hair cuticles and we have also got now cuticles. Today we are just talking about hair, so therefore we just need to discuss about the hair cuticles. So we've got 3 different points. We've got on the outside we've got the cuticle scales. Inside the cuticle it protects the cortex. And after that we have got the medulla, which is dead center to every single strand of hair that might be quite thick. Not every hair has a medulla and it has no purpose whatsoever. However, we need to learn these 3 parts of the hair, as in an exam they might ask you to label a diagram and you need to get the correct word in the correct place. So here you can see a cross section of a strand of hair, and the cuticle scales, like I say, it's on the outside. It protects the cortex, and then on the inside is the medulla. I like to think of it as a pine cone. So when we look at a pine cone, on the left hand side you can see a pine cone which has all like the structure of the pine cone is very tight and closed. which can be quite healthy looking. Now, if we look at the picture on the right hand side, all the pine cone is kind of open and it's swollen and it's kind of, it looks kind of damaged. So we can look at the cones and discuss which one is healthy or damaged and what could cause the hair to be like this. You can think, pair and share. Now, simply looking at the right hand side, we can see that the hair is swollen. Things like that is simply peroxide in colours. To enable the cuticle scales to change, to lift, we need to add a product in there which is quite strong, which swells open the cuticle scales, allows the colour to go in and deposit, and then putting a product on like conditioner will then close the cuticle scales back again. But for the colour change to happen, we actually need the hair cuticles to open. Weak acid closes the cuticle scales and helps protect and smooth the hair. Strong acid burns the skin. So think of strong acid maybe like a battery acid or something like that, which is like your 0 or 1. A strong alkaline swell the hair to allow change to happen. It could be a colour change, it could also be like a perm, so you're changing a curl, a straight hair to a curl, or even a relaxing agent, a curl to straightening. Here we've got some images of the hair shaft under a microscope. So these are really blown up images. Damaged hair can be caused by elastic bands, heated electrical equipment, or chemical services. Looking at these 6 images, you can see how damaged the hair could possibly be. pH values. We can ask the students to make some notes. Acid, we know, closes the cuticles. Something like a weaker solution like conditioner. Alkaline, it opens the cuticles, lifts the cuticles. It's stronger solution like peroxide. So here's a clever way to remember it. We've got acid. If you kind of write it downwards, you've got the C in the acid, which closes. And if you think of the alkaline, it's got the L in there that lifts. And that could be a good way to remember it, because sometimes that could come up in an exam question as well. Ways we can test the balance. Acid and alkalines are present in the human body and are essential for continued life. However, if the normal balance of these chemicals are tilted, the body may not be able to function normally. Identification of the correct balance will aid in identifying what products are best suited to individuals. There are 2 ways we can test the balance. We've got 2 things. We've got litmus paper and we've got universal indicator. Now, a litmus paper will, if you put that into a product, it will either go red or green, depending whether it's acid or alkaline. You've got a universal indicator, which is what I tend to use when we tested last lesson on the salon. It changes all colours. It can go from red to yellow to blue to green to purple. And that's what we tend to use. But there's 2 ways to test the balance of products. This was our learning outcome to identify the different products used. We've got hair, skin and nails, and just simply in pairs I wanted them to write as many different products that they can think of used on the hair, skin and nails, and use commas to separate items in a list, which is getting the grammar in there. So they can write hair, skin and nails, and they can just think of as many products as they possibly can. Very simply, like hair, you can do shampoo, conditioner, colouring products, Brazilian blow dries. Skin, you've got things like moisturising lotion, cleansing agents, toners. You've got foundations. Nails, you've got nail polish, cuticle removers, nail polish removers, and all the products there. So they can make a really good list from that, and it's just recognising, can they tell the difference between what certain products are used on different types of the body. And here's some answers that it could include. And then what I have here is a practical tracking sheet. on the left hand side. So I stick that in the front of their books, and every time they practice a new skill, they will put down the date. So today they're going to practice a fish plat for their practical part of the lesson, and they will put in the date that they practiced it, and they will keep practicing it until they kind of get to green. So the next time they practice it, they might still be red. If they feel that they've perfected the skill, they can put it in the middle column, which is the amber. And if they think they've really excelled to a really high level that they could teach somebody else and obviously do it on a real person, not just on a mannequin or a block, then they can put it in the green column. So you've got your traffic light system there. I call it the RAG system, R-A-G, red, amber, green. We'll go through the health and safety. You've got a block, you've got a clamp, and also you've got a demo there as well of a fish plat. And as you can see, they're going to create a fish plat. You give them a demonstration of a fish plat. There's some YouTube videos as well that you can go on to. Some of the students might be amazing at fish plats already, which is fantastic. But for excellence, can they actually vary the fish plat to suit different looks? You can go for different occasions like bridal or even festival looks as well. How can they funk up a basic fish plat? So that is a lesson there which you will go through step by step, which will give them 30 minutes of practical. I hope you enjoyed.